everyone, it's Cece here. Happy Tuesday. Let's get started on puzzling with me. So I'm back in my office, as you can see. So we are going to actually dive in a little bit deeper to this crossword puzzle this week. You know, we've got our nice grid all set up, looking like a clue board with different rooms. I'm going to read to you guys a little bit from the article that I put in here, just to give you kind of an idea of what this puzzle setup is. It says, notice the grid's 9 distinctly shaded zones. Now buckle up. First, let's go through the entries we need to get in order to solve this thing. This is important, and I highlighted these on my grid so that I could remember to look for them. 25A, 39A, 85A, and 102A. A stands for across. Now those clues, see, I highlighted those all the way across. Those are very long, but that's what's going to tell our story. And if you look at the the clues for those answers, let's start with the first one. 25 across, the clue is, as you inspect each room, you find staff members dressed as blank. And then 39 says, they're all blank, so you can easily identify them. 102 says, you caught me, says the thief, who then admits the diamond isn't here in my room, but is hidden in blank. And I think, and then there's, oh, I skipped one. Where's 85? Oh, in the study, you find the thief accidentally left behind a blank. So when we get those answers, we're going to know the story. We're going to figure out the mystery of where the diamond is. Also, in the article, it talks about how we find our suspects. There's one suspect in each corner and one suspect on each of the 4 sides of the puzzle. So keep an eye out for that. We have to find out who the suspects are and where the diamond is. So I hope you guys are enjoying this puzzle. I've had fun with it so far. I hope you guys are liking it too. Let's go over some answers today, okay? So for across, we're going to give away 31 across. 31 across, the clue is days of days of old, but the answer is your. Days of old, 31 across, days of old, and the answer is your, Y-O-R-E, your. All right, for 69 across. 69 across is music for the masses. Music for the masses, it's a 4-letter word, 69 across. And the answer is hymn, H-Y-M-N, hymn. All right, and the last across one we're going to give away is 108. 108 across. The clue is hungry game characters. Hungry game characters. And the answer is hippos. H-I-P-P-O-S, hippos. Hungry, hungry hippos. All right. Let's do some down answers. We're going to do 15 down. Filling that in. 15 down is a Despicable Me character. Despicable Me character. I'm sure you guys have seen these around. If you don't recognize the term, you'll recognize the picture if you look it up. The Despicable Me character for 15 down is called a minion. M-I-N-I-O-N, minion. They're like those little yellow jelly bean guys. Minion. Okay. Now let's see. I filled these out on my puzzle at home, but did not do it here. Okay, 27 down. 27 down. 27 down is a Japanese box lunch. A Japanese box lunch. And these are typically stacked and very nicely divided, very organized way of eating. It's called a bento. B-E-N-T-O. 27 down is bento. B-E-N-T-O. A Japanese box lunch. All right. And all right, and the last down answer we're going to give away is 17 down. 17 down. The clue is knotted ropes. Some knotted ropes. And the answer is nooses. N-O-O-S-E-S. Nooses. All right. So those are your answers for today as far as the crossword puzzle goes. Now we're going to move on to my favorite segment, which is, the logic grid. Let me just adjust our view here. Oops. Okay, please stay. All right, folks, welcome to the grid. We have a brand new, beautiful, freshly printed logic puzzle to jump into today. All right, so on this week's copy, I did put a little bit of not a story, because remember, I don't like the stories that go with these, but I did put a little bit of more of a guideline of what you're looking for in this puzzle. How old are the characters? Where were they raised? And what magazine do they subscribe to? Those are the answers we're looking for. We have the ages listed here, so that's how we'll know which name to put where. And everything else we need is in this grid and in these 9 clues. So just like last week, we're going to go through the clues once today and see where it takes us. All right. The 66-year-old is not Louise. So Louise is not 66. The 66-year-old is not Louise. Those are 2 different people. I think that's all I can fill out from there, so we'll move forward. The person raised in Billings is not Rylan. All right, Billings, Rylan, we'll match those up. Nice little X there. Rylan is not raised in Billings. Okay. DeAndre is younger than the Newsweek subscriber. Okay. DeAndre is younger than the Newsweek subscriber. So from that, we can deduce that DeAndre is not 66, because if he was 66, which is the oldest available answer we have on our chart here, if DeAndre was 66, he could not possibly be younger than anybody in this puzzle. So DeAndre is not 66. And what else we find out from this clue is if DeAndre is younger than the Newsweek subscriber, then that means DeAndre is not the Newsweek subscriber, because those are 2 separate people. So I can go ahead and cross out Newsweek from here as well, from under DeAndre. All right, Lewis. Oh, I think I called him Louise. It's Lewis. Sorry. Lewis is older than the Cosmopolitan subscriber. Okay, so this is similar to the last clue. DeAndre is younger than the Newsweek subscriber. Lewis is older than the Cosmopolitan subscriber. So if Lewis is older than the Cosmopolitan subscriber, that means Lewis cannot possibly be 31 years old, because that is the youngest age we have on this puzzle. And if Lewis was 31 years old, then he couldn't be older than anybody in the puzzle. So we'll cross that out. Lewis is older than the Cosmopolitan subscriber. What the other thing we find out from that is Lewis is not the Cosmopolitan subscriber. Those are 2 separate people. All right, moving on. Of Rylan and Lewis, one is 31 and the other grew up in Baltimore. Okay, so of Rylan and Lewis, one is 31 and the other grew up in Baltimore. Okay, well, we know that Lewis can't be 31. So there's our first official answer. If it's of Rylan and Lewis, one is 31 and the other grew up in Baltimore. So we know that Lewis is not 31. So that must mean that Rylan is our 31-year-old. Wow, that's pretty fast to get an answer. I'm gonna put him right here. If Rylan is the 31-year-old. So one is 31 and the other grew up in Baltimore. So that means that Lewis grew up in Baltimore. So we're going to go ahead and fill that one in for Lewis. How exciting to have a real answer. Wow, yay guys, we're doing pretty good. All right, the Vogue subscriber did not grow up in Fairbanks. All right, so we'll bring Fairbanks down here. We know that they did not subscribe to Vogue. We don't know who grew up in Fairbanks, but we know they didn't like Vogue. Either the 64-year-old or the 66-year-old grew up in Baltimore. Okay, well, we know that Lewis is the one who grew up in Baltimore. And Lewis can't be 66, that's been taken away. So if it's between the 64-year-old or the 66-year-old that grew up in Baltimore, and Lewis is the one who grew up in Baltimore and he's not 66, then that means Lewis must be 64. Ooh, we are racing through this one today. Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, back. Okay. The US Weekly subscriber grew up in Tulsa. Okay. US Weekly, Tulsa. We can fill that one right in. All right. And the 9th clue is the US Weekly subscriber is Porter. Okay, so that's our first read through of the clues. We already know 2 names. And you know what? We can probably go ahead and eliminate some more stuff right here. We can find the rest of the names just by looking at our grid, not even looking at the clues. But if I look here, I see that 66, there's only one person who could possibly be 66 years old because we've eliminated all other options. And that person is Porter. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this in for Porter and write his name here. And the last possible number, so the only age that DeAndre could possibly be is 54. So we're gonna fill that one in. All right, and let's see what else we can fill in from there. So we discovered that Porter is US Weekly and lives in Tulsa, which I didn't fill out down here, but I will. And we only deduced that because we knew the person, whoever did US Weekly, was from Tulsa. We didn't know it was Porter until we found out that he was the age that he was. So, okay. And let's see, what else do we know? Lewis is from Baltimore. Lewis is from Baltimore. And yeah, that's it. So we know that we know the full answer for Porter. Porter is 66. He lives in Tulsa and he reads US Weekly. Lewis is from Baltimore. We don't know what magazine he likes. We know that DeAndre is 54 and Ryland is 31. So that's a pretty great head start for our first run through of the answers. Much faster than last week's puzzle. Last week's was a doozy. So that's pretty great. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Remember with your word search, as you do it, to kind of keep track of which letters you don't circle. Just kind of keep an eye on that, because there is a Greek proverb to fill out at the bottom with all of the remaining letters. So, and I know a lot of you guys, if you don't like any other puzzles, word searches are your favorite. So I hope you're enjoying that little bit of extra fun in your word search puzzle this week. All right, that is it for today, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.